Apologies, folks. Had some technical issues there. Now I see that I am live. We're going to get right on into it here. A little late for power hour, but not a ton going on, so we didn't miss too much. We are in a few small trades, nothing too major. They are a little bit red, but that's okay too. Seeing the potential higher low forming on SPY here, and we're going to see if these buyers can hold or if this is a little trickle down into close. We're seeing not a lot of buy-in pressure, which kind of does make sense because we got FOMC tomorrow. We are kind of in a wait and see holding pattern here on the indices. So that being said, if we zoom out just a little bit, we are seeing decent structure here. So we had a nice push up in the morning, tried to break out, failed, but we're still holding this area of interest with these bottom wicks here where we pushed out of the open. So essentially, I'm still seeing this as bullish on the day, and we have potential to turn a corner here and push up. So why do I think we might push up here? Well, if we zoom on out to the hourly, we can see that we are with reclaiming this neckline here where we saw buyers once, twice, three times, and we always reclaimed. So we want to see if this level can hold again, because this is where the hourly opened as well. If so, it gives us a nice little bit of room to push up to this next hourly pivot. I'll zoom in on this a little bit. So we've got the next pivot. See the bottom of this and the top of this. So that's the next area of area of interest there, coming back here as well. So that's the kind of zone we want to see. But we need volume, very low volume all day. And see, this is very wishy-washy price action here. You want to say that this is a higher low, but it's not convincing. And you want to say this is a higher high, but it's not convincing. So still wait and see. We could get another flush out. We could see lower price. Wouldn't expect too much lower though. But we do have a little bit of room to downside, considering we have not moved much in the day and we are up a little on the day. So wait and see pattern here. We're going to take a look at some of our other trades. A little bit red. Okay, we did just get filled on our second tranche of Rivian that we were looking for. The area we were looking for here is in this imbalance. Might have been on a 15. Yeah, 15 minute. 5 minutes? Somewhere where it broke out or is testing a breakout right. So I thought that this would be the kind of area where we would see buyers. It undercut a little, which I don't love. So we're going to keep an eye on this one. As SPY is just kind of bopping around this breakdown. So again, not convincing structure in either direction. On the 5 minute, still just trading sideways. I would expect they chop out some 1 minute traders here in both directions and then kind of make their decision. Hopefully up. I have a vague bias up, but not too strong here. Can't be too happy about this if you're a bull, though. You got to see, well, looking for a move into the end of day. I still think we're on track for a strong push into the end of the year. Again, we want 700. There's a ton of gamma exposure built up there, and price action seems constructive on higher time frames to make that push. We're just kind of in this holding pattern until the FOMC hopefully provides the catalyst. So again, buyers are stepping in this level. Let's draw out that zone. There are my shapes. So bunch of wicks in an area. We keep this zone on watch, and we'll do the same thing for the ups. Basically just isolate the range and have it be very clear when it breaks. Something like that. So this is a micro range because we're still inside of a small or a bigger range. So it's not the end of the world if we lose wick down into here and form a higher low, but it's just that this is the area that needs to hold. Otherwise, we have to renegotiate this cluster and open the door to a potential lower move on the day. So the other thing I'm watching in terms of technicals here intraday, the 1 minute 50 moving average. It's a nice kind of trend following moving average in terms of if you are holding above it, especially on breakouts, when the breakout kind of fades a little bit and comes back to this rising 1 minute 50 EMA or 50 moving average, that can provide a good kind of gauge of whether the or reject. So right now we were consolidating in this zone into a falling moving average, and now we are seeing potential breakdown. So I might have to get out of my TQQQ long here. We're going to give it just a few shakes because it might be just renegotiating this to form a higher bottom. We don't mind a kind of sharp move down as long as it's contained selling. So real quick, I'm going to pull up my book map on another screen to get a feel for where the liquidity is lying here. We're seeing push down to fill bids down here, but if not, then we could see more of a slide. Look at that. That'll load in just a second. So I do see balance that could be an area that we are wicking down into briefly, but in general, looking heavy as we lose the bottom of this range. Down here, maybe we flush, where the buyers step in. If they can hold this imbalance, like I mentioned, then we have the potential to wick back up and form that higher low that we're looking. And we have 45 minutes left to do it. So intraday bulls, all of these short-term algorithms that are kind of battling it out here, they're going to have to make their decision pretty quick. So far, bears are in control here. Have been for most of the days out in this morning zone and failed. And because of that, probably best to, if you're a bullish trader, just take a breather. I'm about to probably exit some of these. They're kind of continuation plays, so I'm giving them a leash in this account. But no need to be too sloppy if things aren't working. So quite heavy. Since this zone has basically failed, we're trying to identify where there are some buyers. There are some here, and that would be the kind of breakout level. So this candle that boosted us out of this bottoming range is the area where we're still trying to hold kind of the structure of a textbook higher low if we can. Essentially, a buyer stepping in, forming a buy, that buyer being retested at a higher level and implying that the trend is changing. So no more lower lows. This is the lowest low. That's what this buyer is saying, and that's what this move is saying if it can hold. If it fails, then it's basically a head fake, and it's probably a pretty good that we need to sweep under this and reform a new low, find deeper liquidity before we can buy. So that's kind of the thesis I would be playing with here. Some interplay with the level, but not much. Let's take this opportunity to compare to see how they're doing and compared to tech. Definitely stronger today, holding up a lot better, just trading sideways at the high of the range. And so if tech can catch, that'll be what saves SPY. But we should also take a look and see what is lagging. As Q's attempt to lose that level, I'm assuming weaker, yeah. Still not too bad though. So I'm going to start looking at some sectors here. I want to see what is lagging, what's holding up okay. Energy not looking too bad at all. Big flag, nice double base on the day. It looks like energy wants to push up. That's good for our swings. I believe XLF is going to be a big drag today because of JP Morgan. Yeah, just absolutely crushed there. And this is a decent size weighting in the SPY. So that explains a lot of the essentially lagging characteristics of SPY going on today. So you can contribute catching a bid, which it did seem like it's trying to bottom here, then we're probably going to get the A-OK from SPY. So I would imagine SPY is probably going to be popping here if that's a stabilizing candle on XLF. Nice. So this is where we're kind of looking at. So they had to step in pretty deep, all the way down to here, but we did find those buyers. Oops. Usually like to represent the buyers just in the wick because that's where the price kind of reached all the way down and then found that U-turn reversal. So that's usually the area of interest. So this is stable. We like this. We're going to keep an eye on that XLF too to see if it can hold that bid. What else is worth checking in on? Check my other screen here. So Netflix was seeing some flow. I want to keep an eye on this one of kind of headlines going around on this guy with their acquisition deal, potential acquisition of Warner Brothers. And they're kind of negotiating this interesting situation that you'll see stocks in after they split where there's like a change in liquidity and usually they sell off pretty hard. So Netflix is looking really strong here today. And that might be a change of character. Let's look at the hourly. Starting to think that this one's bottoming and buy on a daily chart. Pretty rough stuff, but what we are seeing is basically a clean back test of this breakout zone. And I do like these looks for bottom feed kind of positions on oversold things that I think are really high quality. I don't think anybody's going to argue that Netflix is going to turn into a bad company in the next year or two. I think that they're probably old and they're going to get it together a little bit here. And I think this is the next mega cap that I'm probably going to get involved in here because I've been trimming my Google, although I still love it. It is just moving crazy. Still, I think this is a flag that breaks higher, but I just got to off it because I'm in the 150, 160s. And Meta, this is one I wish I bought the not. It's been a straight V shape since. Pretty obvious 600 buy area, right? I mean, even on the first day it tapped, it just clearly showed buyers there. Only on days, and each of those days found buyers underneath. Honestly, pretty darn good. Pretty early there, and this to me was a little too extended, so I didn't get involved. Now I'm being the bad guy, hoping it comes back down and fills this imbalance to get me back in it. But I think Meta, great company, great future for this one. Any big dips like this, almost always a buy up. So let's check back in on SPY. And we continue to just kind of create this bottom range. It's never fun trading these kind of things and options because your premiums move around a lot like this. But with shares, it makes it so much easier. So I think this is the kind of setup that I love taking in Trade the Pool because I can average down if this looks constructive in the second. I say got a good entry in the bottom here because sometimes I do like to be Mr. Gunslinger fast on the trigger when it looks like a liquidation here and it's going to wick back up and mean revert. So often you'll see me getting in something like this. When it comes back down near my break even, I'm looking to stay with the buyer that I'm riding with here and say, hey, if they're in, I'm in. So if they catch here, I'll add too. So now we tried to engulf this. There were sellers up in this range. Let's draw those out. I don't think they're strong sellers, but they're worth noting. And it makes sense. It's kind of this pivot zone here throughout this past hour or so. So still negotiating. Guess what? That's the 50-minute moving average, just coasting down, and it pushed us right here down again. So bears are going to try, and I think that this is enough of a buy stick that bulls are going to hold this, and we're going to get a low in this part, and then we're going to tackle this again and hopefully pop through. But we just gotta remember the only reason we're bullish is because a buyer stepped in here. If they fail, can't really use this as a bullish thesis, and this would definitely be tested. So we're going to see responds. And we're going to play depending on how he does. And it's important to remember that you got to, this is more of an art than a good trader will out trade a bot any day, and that is just because there is a lot of discretion and a lot of subjectivity to a lot of these kind of components of what is a level hold, what is a level break. Just because a level gets tested and pushed through does not mean it rejected necessarily, and even if it did, well, on what time frame, and this is something you have to consider. So that's why hard stops often get ran, and it's not to say you shouldn't have stops, but it's just something to remember that especially in certain situations, stops will get ran more. And if you're not sure what those situations are, check out last week's webinar on gamma exposure, the introduction to gamma exposure. And that talked about negative gamma environments where you do get these violations of levels. I was talking about how the market just feels mean on days like this. It'll run your level, come right back, run stops in both directions before making the move. And that's textbook negative gamma stuff. So right here, testing the thesis. This was the buyer kind of meekly saying, hey, I'm still here. Now they're like, are you sure, bud? Are you sure about that? So we're going to see if they are sure about that. Because now we are starting to have to entertain that this is a rolling top here, and we just do not have juice to break above anything major, and we are going to continue downward. So in that spirit, probably going to close these trades in just a second, but I do want to give this zone a chance to hold. Not looking very good though. And if you flip, say, hey, it's a cup and handle, right? There's the base, and now it's testing it again. If it loses this, it's probably going to keep going. So I'm ready to stop out of these. Now we wait. Yeah, this was a day that I did not take any trades in the morning. Just managed a few swing trades when I had the few seconds. Yeah, I was not able to feeling out of sync because of that. Definitely sizing small and ready to cut a loss here. Looking like we're going to get some momentum. I will wait for this candle to close unless it just pushes down. I want to get out then. Still seeing a few resting buyers here, but not enough to be good about this. And on Bookmap, there is a level a little bit below. They're probably going to test that. That level's probably down here. Down here. So 15 seconds for this candle to close. This is not, but it is holding for now. I just want to see if the buyers can step in at the last second here, last few seconds, and give me a reason. Give me a reason to stay in it. That's a good hammer. There are buyers here, and this is going to be a candle that I will probably need to wait. Yeah, I'll need to wait for follow through the downside to get out of this candle here. So this is where the subjectivity comes in. And this also leads to sometimes psyoping yourself and holding a position when you should have taken the stop. So definitely something to some extent. And another aspect of it is that despite that experience and the subjectivity, you still do have to have a heart where you're saying, I'm not willing to lose any more money on this. So that's important to know in your heart too. Like how much is too much on any one trade? And that's I think a really important lesson, to just not get married to any one trade, because that will hurt you in the long run for sure, more than any one trade can, or should, I should say, because you start putting more and more risk into it. You start adding on more and more, and in your eyes, you're just so sure that the idea is right that you kind of get clouded there. So we are testing. It's looking pretty rough. No immediate reaction, or I'll get out. This looks bad and I'm out. Do not want. Rivian is working, and it's okay if they come back. Trade that I'd feel comfortable holding anyway. Still going to hold my swings, but besides that, going to let this market flush out just a little bit more so we can look at downside targets now that this thesis has been just about nullified. Oh, they're playing games. See if this buyer can hold, and if that was all they needed. They were just waiting for me to get out of the way. In general, I would consider this kind of garbage time. It's not really good trading here. This low volume, low follow through. Whenever trades are working really well, and that I'm not a genius, the market's just working. And whenever the market makes me feel dumb, I try to also remember, hey, maybe it's not conducive to things making sense right now. Maybe it's a low liquidity environment where it's easy to whip things around, kind of like this. And so let's see if that was all we needed to reach for. If so, that is a good sign for bulls, because we didn't need to come down here. I just see a decent amount of overhead volume here, and like we talked about, a lot of kind of targets to work through. We can see if that end of day volume comes in here and we do get that move. But not crushed that I got stopped out here. And we're up a little. The horn to some of these other names that we've been watching. We were trading Wolf. Wolf had a really nice move today. This one's a fun trader. This one really likes to swing on you. So what I've noticed is that flags often don't hold, and they need to flush out deeply, but then the rebounds are so in this kind of consolidation here, you'd kind of think, this looks like it wants to go higher. But it was already running pretty hot compared to yesterday. See these equal highs here? So that was set the range, and then this was the back test within the range. So if we zoom in on this range, we see, okay, where were the buyers when we were near the top of the range? These guys in here, these were the guys who wanted to push us higher. So these are the guys who need to be retested. These are the guys who need to be. So we try to give the breakout after they step in, all the volume comes in, people chase their trades, and then it doesn't get the clean breakout, liquidity flush. They come back and they say, hey, you guys still in? They say, yeah, baby, let's rock and roll. Sweep it back up here. They're taking profit. But then this is where people are getting excited again because we just reclaimed a big off of a previous. So again, a lot of whippiness where they do like to run it out, but they give you easy targets here. Like once the bottom gets formed in here, you can swing for the high here. Once you take profit there, you can look for a higher low, nice bottoming wick there and a surge somewhere there, take profit right here again. So then, yeah, you might get stopped out here, but you should be sitting in profit and ready to kind of look to hop in again, basically. And so now this is looking like consolidation into this level with a lot of play. So we can see if it holds here with SPY. SPY's flush. If it can bottom out, then maybe we get a hold of this level, or maybe it needs to revisit down here. But this seems like it probably wants to catch. Is this one I want to get involved in? I'm seeing SPY ball, but still nothing that makes me think that we are ready to turn yet. So we're going to keep watching, get involved in this one here. Our Rivian seems to be stronger than the market, so we like that, and we're going to keep on expecting it to do okay. Let's see where my chart is. There it is. Okay, nice and constructive. I will set some targets for these. Would be nice if we swept into a new high, just in case, but kind of. So I want to see this area hold. Put my stop over there, and it'll be in green. Just in case I'm wrong, I'll walk away with some pennies. That being said, SPY's still heavy. Nothing good going on there. Yeah, if I flip this chart, I would expect it to try to squeeze down to here. And we do have 30 minutes, so we can see how far. If I was feeling a little sharper, I might try to scalp this short. I think that pop-up was probably the safe entry. And now it would be chasing. So fine with letting it without me here. That being said, if you are in a trade, your targets are going to be, let's find the exact. We're past the exact. Oh, this is the open here. Yeah. Okay, so 83.13. 13 is one handle, then this first swing down in cash session, 82.83. Those are your targets. $83.13 there, almost tagged. What did I say? 82, 83 or something, somewhere around there. So these would be the first targets, and then this would be areas where we could see buyers stepping in. Otherwise, we would be testing the pre-market lows, which are significantly lower. If you want to buy this, not yet, I do not see a reason to assume that these equal lows are. Sellers could very easily just keep on applying momentum and pressure down. Just because we got a little bit of a buy at a key level does not mean it's time to step in. We got to prove it. So that would look like reclaiming this big red stick in my book. Does look like we're going to try though. So now this is looking like they're going to. And often you'll see this this is what it always looks like when we're bottoming. It also is sometimes what it looks like when they try really hard and then it accelerates down. So usually this means that this is a pivotal moment that we should watch. So you see the acceleration faded, and now bears are still in control. So we might see a pretty decent push down here. And see now it's trying to accelerate to the downside. And bears, they have been in the driver's seat for a while today, and they are trading counter trend overall. We are still in an uptrend. So we've got some interesting kind of dueling dynamics on different time frames here, and it's just all about who is going to kind of be able to take control on a shorter time frame and how long they can hold it. And how long they can hold that trend is usually contextualized by the higher time frame, but all changes to a higher time frame have to occur on a lower time frame first, if that makes sense. So important to kind of not just look outward down, but also inward out. And we are getting the expansion down after the failure of this buy attempt here. Bit of a higher time. We're starting to pick up in volatility. If we do start to catch, I'll flip back. But right now, see, we are engaging with this little bit of an imbalance. We'll zoom in for you there. That little gap, see the candle and this open of the candle, we consider that an imbalance that likes to get retested. So we're negotiating here. If we fail, then we come back down into this zone. If this fails, then we sweep this out and probably go a little bit further. That is this. Hey, Bacaro, you are short IBIO 10 minutes ago at 2:13. Let's take a look at your trade here. IBIO. I'm not familiar with this one. Probably a small cap name. Looking like a potential buy candle on SPY. We're going to check in on your trade in just a second, but I do want to keep an eye on this here. So just because it's starting to get interesting, where we had the attempt here, but could now there's another buying attempt here. So I want to watch if it can over or reclaim this and just break this little slide pattern here. If so, we can look to potentially get back involved. It's pretty strong. Okay, so I like this imbalance. So now I'm going to be hunting for an entry over where I got stopped out, which is unfortunate, but it happens. So we're going to wait for the balance to form. This is likely going to be the bottom, but we can't be sure quite yet. So we wait for it to form, and then we wait for it to get dipped back into just a little bit, which will likely be an entry right around here. And remember, not the safest plays just because we are battling a downtrend. We have a few reasons to believe that this will hold, but we got to believe it. So we set a 1 minute imbalance here. I'm going to put a tester order here. There's a chance it screams out of here. It does not come back at all. This is an area I'd like to see negotiated. I'll go one tick higher. Maybe I won't need to go one tick higher, but I will anyway. Oops. Price. Okay, it looks like I got filled. Did get filled? Okay. Must have been right when I put this other order down. So now I'm in another, a little bit lower. So now it can run straight into straight into the dirt now that I got double filled. No, this seems fine. Wicking into this imbalance. I would have preferred to get another add on a second push down to kind of add to motion on a second wicking candle. And then if I'm wrong, then I'm in, you know, a little more kind of wiggle room, if that makes sense. But this is acting right here. We're going to watch this turn around. We're going to watch on SPY because it's going to, oops. Making sure I didn't accidentally put an order down. Always a good idea if you're not using the mouse trading feature to unclick it there in the top right when you're mousing around, because sometimes I accidentally make a click or two. All right, so while SPY makes its decision, let's look at IBIO. Oh, and look at that. So if you caught that short, you got a nice flush right to the $2 level. Buyers are stepping in here. You want to watch out for an engulf here at the 210 handle. So this is either an amazing short entry or a squeeze of shorts. The shorts were briefly in control. They are getting tested hard back up to this pivot. It does look like it wanted to roll on that higher time frame, which is why you got the initial pressure release. So now we are testing that. You know, and it is starting to wick down. This is quite a risky one, but I might see if it fades. I don't like that it pushed back up here. I did like the first wick. I'll keep an eye on this. just in case I want to play. I would be playing very small size. And I would be looking honestly probably to join you short off a rejection of something up in this area, but I would have liked to see it actually right here. So the fact that it's pushing up higher means that I'm not sure if I'm right, especially with SPY turning around here. That SPY trade is starting to work, it looks like, screen. So because of that, got to be a little, so be a little careful on this one. Market could just more liquidity piling into anything that's being pushed short, because shorts as a whole are looking to start stepping out here. So we got the range break after this consolidation, after the bottoming candle. So now we are in this pattern of negating the short-term down. Still in a downtrend on most time frames, but we are starting to see this curl up here. My oscillator's turning bullish on SPY as well. Checking some notifications there. All right. So yeah, we seem to be on track here. My energy swing's still not too happy though. Let's look at and SPY pushing harder there. Got my stop in there. Okay, good. The Rivian trade is acting nicely. I want to find something to add to. I could add to this. I'll look for a spot to build out the QQQ trade. Show you guys how I would snowball into a position here, or pyramid into a position if I do believe in it, but think it might take a little bit of time to play out. That being said, we only have 9 minutes left. In that case, never mind. I cannot, but I'll tell you what I would. And because I'm running out of time here, I'm going to have to just look for some opportunistic take profit targets just to try to maximize the fact that I only have 9 minutes left to lock in. So realistically, we're 9 minutes. I think it would be realistic to break even at this point if we're going to slide here down this possible rejection. If we get a nice candle, we could reclaim that. Looks like I'm going to probably just take a break-even stop up here if we get it. Or they might run stops to the low of the day, and then I'll get stopped out there. Yeah, not my day, guys. I also got a parking ticket, so don't my trades today. I'm out of it, but you know what? That just means I got the fire in me for tomorrow. I'm going to hit back harder. So stay tuned. We're going to be doing this power hour tomorrow. We're also going to be doing, the same usual stream in the morning, but I'll be joining the three musketeers there with me, Big Money Mitch, and Michael Noss CMT. So be sure to tune in for that. It's going to be a good time. We always, something about being in a room with them. Like I just take more trades. I don't know, makes me excited to trade. So we're going to be doing that, and that's going to be a good time. We have a little bit of buys going into here, and we're kind of figuring out we're this 10-minute period before 350 is an interesting period because it's kind of like speculative positioning around the release of the speculative positioning for the MOC, the market on close data. So the market on close candle will, if big orders are anticipating a move up overnight, and we are kind of speculating on when those orders will be revealed and the big candle will hit the tape. So it's a fun little wait and see moment. But a lot of people don't realize that this is what's happening. So they get confused by short-term price action in this window. This little stop run in retrospect, probably just front running, hopefully bullish MOC data, which would, send us up and sweep some of this out. That's how we're framing the trade. Rivian's pushing nicely. That'll give us a little bit of cushion. Gonna get stopped out at a loss on our swings, and that's okay. I'm gonna look to get back in tomorrow. Still believe in them long term. In my shares account, not worried about them, especially because the other half of the basket's doing very well. Let's look at FLNC. Okay, a little less good than this afternoon, but still pretty darn good. Nice 4% day or so. We'll take that. Let's check in on the IB. Ooh, the squeeze. Scary squeeze. Yeah, my feng shui is off. Absolutely, dude. It's funny. My therapist hit me with, I said, like in high school, And then I was talking about something now, and she's like, maybe it's karma. It's like, damn, that's a crazy thing to say. But now I think she's right. I think it was karma, and I think this is too. Bank services shorts look interesting. Yeah, I haven't actually read the headline, so I'm flying blind on this. But as usual, I will defer to your expertise until I know more. Let's look at some of the banking names. Uh, Bank services. Who would your go-to be? I don't even know. Just remembered I'm still in a trade. Okay, looking a little better. Gonna get out green at least. So I'm just gonna let this one probably do what it's gonna do into the close because of higher low. It's gonna push up here. I believe I did take profits already. I'm filled, locked in a little bit there. This is just having fun penny change mostly. Definitely not feeling sharp enough to take a big position. So tomorrow we're gonna have some interesting trading. Be careful before FOMC. Wait until after for price to settle if you are looking for a trend to trade. Otherwise, be fast, quick on the draw, easy ins, easy outs. Don't force trades. Only take it if it looks good and you do not plan on holding it a while. That's my recommendation on all big data days, but especially FOMC. The candle loves to form on a daily time frame. Let's see, where else are we going to reach for? Let's not be greedy. We got a few minutes left. Let's be greedy. Fine. We're going to shoot for this one. I don't think it gets it. I think it probably goes here. I have 100 shares. I sell 100 shares. And with that top wick, don't want to be greedy anymore. That's not my stop limit. See, I'm out of it, guys. I'm pulling the wrong things all over. There's my stop. Okay, 4 minutes left till the mock candle here. Sell off after testing this, couldn't break above. Probably not a great sign for bulls for the next 5 minutes, but hey, it's all going to shake out in the wash over. I'm thinking that we probably get a little bit of a flush and then a rip, the classic dip and rip, and we should have some good trading tomorrow. If you're into the data trading, but like I said, sizing much smaller, only taking it if it looks really good. They have to really get me interested to take a trade, and then after the talk, that's when I will be looking to take a position. Usually, you want to go long because ball crush. He can't say anything scary anymore. Market after or as they digest the likely dovish news. So that I'm at going into tomorrow. We are seeing a little bit of the pullback here. Q is looking better than SPY. If we flip over there, see just a little bit heavier, and that's kind of been the case all day long. When SPY was starting to do this big old slide, Qs are still hanging around up here, and it really took a while for Qs to catch up, and they really didn't catch up completely. They still are holding much higher in the base. Much higher in the base, as you can see there, compared to this morning. SPY somewhere down here. So overall, good sign for technology. We need them to do good to get this kind of breakout to stick. I just am wondering about how long it's going to take. So we're going to be watching for tomorrow to be the catalyst. If it is the catalyst, then any pullbacks in the morning are gifts. So that's the ideal game plan that we're looking for. Other templates could be a strong overnight and morning, and that could be a little bit spooky. We could see some price action get heavy as Powell starts talking. So that's kind of where my head is at. But honestly, this is a time where I'm trading small because I don't feel like I have a really good firm grasp on the very short-term price action. And that's usually a good sign that I shouldn't be trading big anyway. Do like the buying into close. It's interesting because SPY is dripping down as Qs are pushing up. Now the SPY is probably going to mean revert up a little bit. This is rotation from SPY into Qs. Definitely relative strength, but buying over. Okay, so my mock candle is coming in. It's totally fine with getting filled before the mock candle. Probably going to shake and bake anyway. And we will from those. Rivian's still in the green. That's nice. All these are going to be closed out though. So a little $80, I think. Yeah, down about $80. That's okay. Good day to sit out overall, and I did not. Swing account's doing well, so we take those. Oh, another good reason to have a trade the pool account. Like some days, just not my day in one of my strategies accounts, whether it's a long term Roth, whether it is scalping my options, whether it's my option swings. It's nice to have an account that's doing green because some strategy's probably working, or at the very least, not hurting me. So SPY is trying to get a little here. Interesting to see Q's pulling back a little. So a little back and forth there. Probably nothing really to say about. There's the mock candle. It's a mock buy. We got filled there. That's nice. Would have been nicer if they waited 1 minute to fill me, but I understand. So a nice push. We like to see the buy into close there. Not surprising. We'll just check out a few of my trades. Meta sold off a bit, shifting. AI strategy causing internal concerns. Yeah, for the mega caps, I'm kind of boring. I just wait till they get to big levels and don't really read a headline ever. That's kind of my strategy. Yeah, Bitcoin seemed like it did great. My micro strategy finally popped off. I bought that on the capitulation day at the end of the day somehow. So I'm happy with that trade. Let's take a look at that one actually. I haven't checked in on it, but I know if it's fill. Okay, now a little bit of a sell-off, but ooh, that's a move. Alrighty. So let's pull up the daily be big, or the 4 hour at least. So yeah, crypto does seem to be bottoming. We are also let me double. We're seeing a little bit of weakness, which is looking okay now, but overall big weakness in gold compared to Bitcoin. So that's an interesting one to keep an eye on there. That ratio. I'm a massive gold bull, and I am lukewarm on crypto. I think it goes up, but I think gold goes up more in the next 5 years. I know that's probably a hot take considering how much gold has gone up, but I have been a gold bug since before it was cool. So grain of salt there in both directions. Crypto overall does seem like it's bottoming. MicroStrategy was just straight up capitulation here, so that was oversold. I took half off here. Haven't looked at it. I think I filled more when it swung over here, and I'm holding a runner for the moon just in case. Let's look at IBIT, our Bitcoin ETF. What's shaking here? Not too much. Okay, SPY, we got our mock buy candle. It is getting mean reverted here. Imagine we probably pin right about where we're at, something like that. So IBIT does look like it's carving out this bottom. This is a nice ascending triangle type bottom. This doesn't look like a bear flag to me. It looks pretty darn constructive, especially the size and strength of these green candles. I would have to double check on a chart with volume, but looks like a nice base to me. And this should be a nice high time frame level of interest. And if we look, it's finding buyers in this consolidation before it broke out. So pretty common pattern. We're seeing this on Netflix too, and you'll see it a lot if you look for it. Crazy breakout move, just kind of keeps going and going. Even when it looks like it's topping, it bears out one more time. Then the sells actually start. Really, it's just selling back down to where it broke out from. This is the area where you can look for some really nice entries to buy. Good stuff there. All right, 7 minutes left in the market. Moving on over to SPY, a little bit heavy into close, but really not going to give too much weight to what it does in the last 10 minutes here. The mock candle, that was pretty important. We wanted to see that. Besides that, kind of chilling. Whoa. Sorry, checking my watch list, and Galaxy is up 13%. Let's take a look at that. One of my favorite, or I should say, Bitcoin miner turn data center plays. We got in at 20 even. Still have a few runners, but they're just in the don't look anymore account, hoping that one day it goes back to 100. But man, that's a leader in the Bitcoin space, and it's the same pattern as Bitcoin here, but it just smashed through. It's very bullish when the leaders are breaking out like that. You gotta love that. Let's take a peek at ONDS. This one's giving me heartburn this week. I think I did take profit today. I thought I missed my shot when it gave back an 8% move yesterday, but then it pumped 9% again today. Now I see it as selling off. Heartburn. I don't know. Might get caught holding the bag. This is so many times to try to break out. The more times it tries, the less I like it. Like I loved it in this price action. I was buying more because it was consolidating down into a level. I mean, you could argue, okay, here's the level, it's consolidating against it. That's the bull case, and I hope it's true. But I don't like the upward action here. I don't like this getting mean reverted again. But hey, we're gonna keep watching it. I wanted to take profit at 10, but I just did like 8 or 7, 980. I took it. Yeah, just getting antsy. I do think this one has legs, especially long term, but man, it's just running a little bit hot. So I think it could sell off pretty hard too. Silver got the new highs. Nice. Silver's in the don't touch port, so I don't look at those. But we did add it. What S2? I think not the actual silver futures 52, but did add shares there, so that's hanging out. I wanted to get back involved with FCX. I'm assuming copper's screaming as well. That's a move that I wish I that's a move that I wish I caught. Talking about FCX at 40, and I did not buy. So we're just going around checking some interesting things here into the close. We are seeing SPY puke the close. So boy, let's look at that real quick. SPY, baby. If you want to swing, this is a little place for an overnight. If you're bullish into tomorrow morning, ambivalent. 30 minute looking kind of bear flaggy to me, to be completely honest. Looks like we might get a little bit of drift up overnight, pop, and then we could see a decent flush out and then a recovery. So I'm expecting a wide body candle tomorrow, or I'm sorry, a wide ranged candle tomorrow. The 30-minute sticks. Let's go to the one because we do have some shake and bake. So mentioned here, if you want to swing, you're up a little bit, but that is where the buyer stepped in. Nice, cool. All right, maybe your boy does, or maybe this all sells off still. But either way, we got 4 minutes left. I think I bored myself to sleep, but this was essentially just a walk them down type session that we were trading through here, or watching through. Not many opportunities. The long didn't play out. The cat out here. The short didn't really play out here. Nobody really won except for unless you were short the mock stick, I guess. So let's see. That's a pretty hard sell. All right. We are going to close the day with not the best candlestick, I believe. Don't believe the day candle is working yet. We're fixing on the Trader Evolution platform this weekend, I believe. So stay tuned. That'll be fixed shortly. Till then, we are going to look at the 4 hour and seeing these big bottom wicks not seeming to find buyers here yet. Worrisome because we have this grind up here and then a jolt. Now small flag up. Bit of a jolt. So could see continuation. I would really like to see this zone transacted down here at the 680 handle. So I would love to look for a small pop tomorrow morning, maybe to the 684 area, possibly 685 if we can get back up there, and then 680 target. In general, buyer need to figure out when and where buyers are going to step in, because we kind of ran things hot and we didn't make that much progress here in terms of this price action. So now we have to reset RSI and other indicators like that. Ideally, by coming out in a curved kind of pattern, I would like. We'll see something like a little jagged and then a sharp buyout. So overall, not too concerned yet, but I do want to see how this plays out. I'm not and play the breakout until we see how the so SPY on the 1 minute still pushing lower. I was wrong. This was not oversold technically, but can always get more oversold. So we keep digging deeper. And it's just pretty high volume, pretty sustained. I thought that was a crescendo of volume, but now I'm seeing we can go higher. So this is going to be likely the crescendo. And there it goes. Much ground it can reclaim. So I think of this last price action in the last 10 minutes on a daily candle is, or it's kind of like a painting the tape, or like when how the close is going to look on a daily candle when all of those investors open their brokerage after work and say, oh, this is how the SPY closed and this is where it opened, So it's kind of uh, it's a prime time for psyops, just kind of messing with. So often you will see a very bullish day get pounded down at the end, and people think, oh, maybe I should have sold. When in reality, they're just pushing it down, just ran hot intraday. There's going to be profit taking that they can kind of ride on in terms of the momentum, and the trend's going to continue. Then it gives them a better entry to buy off of the yesterday's high for the next session. So that was the crescendo there. We could tell by the high volume. Now the big volume's coming in into the close. We are now into the last minute of trading here. Last minute of trading coming up, and we are trying to kind of save the momentum into the future session. In terms of swing trading, makes no difference at this point. Oh, looks like I froze up there. Sorry, guys. There we go. I'm back. Cool. So, all right, that's the bell. There's the time, and we survived. This has been been a long one here for me personally. Not much action. A little bit red on the day. Never like to see it, but so sometimes it's just that way. We're going to get a really nice trading session the next day or two here, I believe. So we're going to stay in the pocket, and we're going to catch that move there. So, guys, I hope you had a good day. I hope you made some money, because I did not. Take care, and we're going to do it all again tomorrow morning. Everybody have a great day.